I am your host, Nati, and today we want to take a look at the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz, and Trump saying that anybody who needs oil must directly go to the United States of America. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, we normally talk about it in light of oil, but we want to show today that the Strait of Hormuz, it's more than oil. It's more than oil. It's not oil that is shipped through the Strait of Hormuz. So the tankers or the ships that um, are moving through the Strait of Hormuz, they not only supply oil, they supply more than oil. And we want to take a look at that at this hour, at this morning. So we want to thank you for choosing to be with us this morning. And this is what we want to talk about: the Strait of Hormuz. You know that in the Strait of Hormuz, more than oil passes through. All right. You have oil, you have gas, you have fertilizers, you have grains, you've got food, you've got cars, ship carrying cars, carrying fertilizers, carrying food, carrying manufactured goods, carrying all of these things. They go through the Strait of Hormuz. All right. Now, in other words, what I'm trying to say is what we now have, or what we now see today, is that a lot of these things are not able to flow today. And the reason being is that Trump Trump has been able to divert all this flow to his own country, the United States of America. So today we can see that Donald Trump is the one who is actually controlling all this movement. All right, all the movement of these goods. All right. So when we say that as of yesterday, or as of this week, when we say that all ships are moving to the United States. Okay, and Trump said that they come to the United States empty and they leave United States full. Are they only collecting oil in the United States, or they're collecting more than oil? Remember, in the Strait of Hormuz, the tankers or those ships, they have a lot of different goods that they're carrying and transporting from the Middle East to the world, and from the world to the Middle East. So it's a two-way movement of these things. All right. So currently, so if the Strait of Hormuz is used to transport gas, all right, oil, helium, aluminum, all right, and fertilizers, okay, fertilizers, and ships containing cars, and all furniture, everything that the ships are containing or transporting. It means now all those activities are not happening in the Strait of Hormuz or in the Middle East currently. There is not much flow of gas, flow of oil, flow of aluminium, flow of fertilizers, flow of ship carrying cars or any other fuel jet. One of the things that the Strait of Hormuz is responsible to transport to the uh, to the to the Middle East. So we can see that the Middle East has been isolated from global trade. The Middle East has been or is being isolated from global trade. That is exactly what is happening. Give me a moment. I'll be right back now. Yeah. So we can see the Middle East is being isolated from global economy, because the Strait of Hormuz is not only responsible for the flow of oil. The Strait of Hormuz is not only responsible for the movement of oil, but the Strait of Hormuz is also responsible for fertilizers, for cars, jet fuel, aluminum, all these important things that we need on a day-to-day. The Strait of Hormuz is responsible for that movement. And today the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked. Okay, no business is taking place in the Middle East. No business is taking place in the Middle East. We can see that the reason we say Trump may be undermined, may be considered to be stupid, to be a fool. I believe Trump knows what he is doing. I believe Trump is behaving the way he's behaving to make people think of him as somebody who is incapable, somebody who does not understand economics, somebody who does not understand what he is doing. But I can tell you, Gary Gilmore says, no, he is stupid. Jerry, yeah, you can say he is stupid, but look at what this stupid man has been able to achieve. Look at what this stupid man has been able to achieve. I believe that he behaves the way he behaves because he wants people not to take him serious so he can continue delivering what he's delivering to his masters. Because we said that Donald Trump is a puppet, okay? There's a master who's controlling him. There is a power that is controlling him. And it is through the power that is controlling him that Trump is able to do the things that he is doing. All right. If he is stupid, look at today. How was Trump able to close or to steal, let me put it this way, to steal the Middle East market? Because by closing the Strait of Hormuz, Trump has been able to divert all purchases, all goods that used to flow to the Middle East. Now they are all going to the United States of America. Gary Gilmore says, nothing. His father gave him money. After that, all his business failed. I get you. I get you, Gary. I get you, Gary. I get you. I get you, man. I get you. But now, look at what Trump has done since March. Look at what Trump has done since March. Look at the success of his war in Iran. All right. I'm talking based on that. I know that maybe business-wise he was bankrupt and some rich billionaire were able to bail him out and help him to get back on his feet. I'm aware of that. I know that. But now I just want us to look at what Trump is doing globally. All right. What Trump is currently doing globally. All right. Globally, he was able to shut business in the Middle East. He was able to disconnect the Middle East from world trade. And not only he was able to disable or to stop trade or to isolate the Middle East from global trade, he diverted or shifted all those trades to the United States of America. We know that tankers, hundreds of tankers, are flowing to the Gulf of the United States, the Gulf of Mexico. To do what? To load oil. And not only to load oil, to load fertilizers. And not only fertilizers, to load gas. And not only gas, to load aluminium. And not only aluminium, to load also vehicles, cars, machines. Because the people who used to get these things from the Middle East are not able to get them now from the Middle East because Trump has shut the Strait of Hormuz. We are simply saying it's not only about oil, it's more than oil. All right, it's not only about the oil, it's more than oil. Yes, oil is important, but there's more than the oil we've been focusing in the previous weeks, okay? And all that, Trump has been able to do that. In other words, all the monies, all the business that used to happen in the Middle East, it's no longer happening in the Middle East, all right? And all the business and the monies that used to go to the Middle East is now going to the United States of America. All right. Gary Gilmore says, no, it's Iran. Shut it, not Trump. All right, you. Okay, I take the correction. I take the correction. Phase one, it was Iran who shot it. Okay. Phase two, it is the United States who sent its navy to blockade it. So currently, as we speak, the United States is the one blocking everything. Remember, before the United States did what it did, many tankers were lying in the Strait of Hormuz, many of them. But since Trump brought his navy, all those tankers, all those ships left the Strait of Hormuz, and all of them went to the United States of America to load up. So currently, the United States of America's Navy is blocking there. Nothing is moving. All right. So you're correct, Gary Gilmore. It was Iran that shut it. That was phase one. Phase two is the United States of America. And again, Iran shuts it because of the United States of America. So if it was not the United States of America, Iran would not have shut the Strait of Hormuz. So however you want to have it, the Iranian government closed the Strait of Hormuz because of the United States of America. So the United States of America is responsible for the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So in any event, the United States of America is the reason the Strait of Hormuz is shut. All right, is closed. So it doesn't matter how it came about, but we know who is behind that closure. It is the United States of America. All right, so this is what is happening now. It means now almost every money, every dollar, every million that used to flow in the Middle East. And when we talk about the Middle East, we're talking about the entire Middle East. All right, we're talking about the entire Middle East because the Strait was it's an essential passage to everyone in the Middle East. And currently, except China, China is also affected because China is also affected. Russia is also affected because all goods. Okay, let me welcome Omar David. Salute all things podcast chat. Only a matter of time. How are all of these businesses remaining profitable in this climate? Does America have the capacity for that ambition? Gary Gilmore says that's why gas is high. Exactly. That is why gas is high. And the United States, Omar David, the United States is able to supply the world with oil. It's able and capable to supply the world with oil. The United States, remember, the United States has done something that when Trump was doing it again, people thought, this fool, what is he doing? But when Trump went and captured Venezuela, Trump was preparing for the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. He knew that should he close the Strait of Hormuz without securing another source of oil, he knew that he was going to have a problem. But he went to Venezuela and captured Venezuela, and he told us that he's having 30 million gallons of oil from Venezuela, which means now we don't really need the Middle East. That's what Trump is saying. Trump is simply saying we do not need the Middle East. The world can do without the Middle East. You understand? That's exactly what Trump is doing. It's not only Iran, because all Gary Gilmore says that's why they ruined them. You should crazy as Trump, okay? Or you sound crazy as Trump, all right? Gary Gilmore, and you believe him. Listen, when we talk about this, it's not praising Donald Trump or the United States of America. We are dealing with facts. It's a fact. It's a fact that the Middle East has been isolated from the global market. It's a fact, all right? It has nothing to do with my love for Trump or my hatred for Trump. It's a fact. The Middle East is being isolated from the global market. It's a fact. It's a fact that tankers, ships, are moving towards the United States to load up. All right? It's a fact. It has nothing to do with love or trusting Donald Trump. All right? It has nothing to do with that. Okay, it's a fact. It's a fact. Jonas says you are okay. You are not smart. Gary Gilmore says it's a fact. Americans are dying for Trump. It might be a fact. It might be a fact that Americans are dying for Trump. But how many Americans and who are these Americans dying for Trump? And in what context are these Americans dying for Trump? In the ground, it's a fact that many Americans don't trust Trump right now. It's a fact that many Americans, they see him as stupid. They see him as a fool. They see him as the worst president ever in the United States. But I'm saying, look beyond the foolishness. Look beyond the stupidity of Donald Trump. Look at what the man has achieved for the United States of America. What has Donald Trump achieved for the United States of America? Donald Trump has made America the sole supplier of oil globally. Donald Trump has made the United States of America the majority supplier of oil globally. Remember, Trump told us that if China needs oil, China must go to the United States of America. If Russia needs oil, Russia must go to the United States of America. And that's a fact. That is a fact. In other words, it is almost impossible today, impossible for the nations to do business in the Middle East because there is nothing happening in the Middle East, all right? And I want you to notice that the global economy is divided into three parts, okay? The global economy is divided into three parts. And let me take this time and welcome you all. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching us for the first time, we're thankful for your presence in the podcast, All Things Podcast. And please, may you subscribe to the channel. If you're joining us for the first time, subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow. Not to make money, it's not a monetized channel. It's not monetized, and so we're not making money through this channel. We are just sharing information. So help the channel to grow. So the world economy is divided into three parts, okay? It says, though the specific classification depends on the model used, the most common framework includes the core periphery structure, regional blocks, North America, Europe, Asia, or the three-sector model, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So we know that the world economy, the global economy is divided into three, okay, into three parts. So it's North America, it's West Europe, and Asia. And currently, Asia is being attacked because the Middle East is in Asia, okay? Middle East, that's Asia, okay? That's Asia. So we know that of the three parts of the global economy, North America, Western Europe, and Asia, we can see that now Asia is being isolated from the global economy, all right? China is in Asia. Russia, it is that side, okay? We can see today that they are being isolated. Well, I understand, Chase. I understand, Chase, what you're saying. I understand, Chase, what you're saying. But man, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. South Arabia, and these are the key countries in the region. Okay, Asia, in the region of Asia, you have Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Oman, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Israel, Turkey. These are the countries that side, and these countries, they depend on the Strait of Hormuz for the movement of many of their products, okay? Taylor, welcome, Taylor. Welcome, Taylor. Says, my name is Taylor and it's Australian British name. Welcome, Taylor. We had a funny and a good time with you yesterday. Okay, so the key countries that are affected by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, it's Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Oman, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Turkey. And these people, They are not able, as we speak today, to ship their products out of the Strait of Hormuz or get anything in through the Strait of Hormuz. In other words, they cannot do anything. They cannot do anything because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. And this is why we're saying that the Middle East is being isolated from the global economy. All right. Let me take this one. Taylor says, after blowing up the international rules-based order, is now digging in his heels, refusing to see the pain and suffering that his bloody actions are having on everybody else. All right, that's correct, Taylor. Taylor says again, he is behaving like a spoiled brat who just trashed his room, thrown his dinner on the floor, and when he's still demanding he's still demanding dessert. He's behaving like a man-child. Taylor, you couldn't be far from the truth. We do not turn a blind eye on the atrocities, on the bad things that Trump can. We do recognize that many people have lost their lives because of his war in Iran. We recognize that, and you are correct to raise that point. You are correct to raise that point. But again, I want to say to you, man, I cannot read your name, but you're welcome to, I don't know what language is that, but you are welcome to All Things Podcast. Here's the thing. I agree with you, Taylor, that Trump behaves like a spoiled brat. And here's another thing about the United States of America, or the Congress of the United States of America. They are all together in this. They are all one in this thing, because Trump is behaving outside of the established way of behaving. Trump is not following the rules. Trump is doing what he pleases, and no one is holding him accountable. They tried to impeach him some time ago, some days ago. They failed. And the reason they failed is because majority of the people in the United States of America, in the Congress, in the Senate, they believe in Trump and they support him. Remember, another thing that Trump is doing, which on the surface, it appears as if Trump is weakening the United States of America. We know last week we had a lot of analysts, we had a lot of commentators, we had a lot of podcasters telling us that Trump has destroyed the United States of America. Young Wolf says Trump is doing what's right. All right. Oman David says, what's the energy cost of America's technological future? Finance, Bitcoin, electrical infrastructure needed, population, agriculture, fertilizer, logistical, commodity, oil, byproduct. Oman David, the United States of America has just done what is contained in what you're saying. The United States of America controls all that you have just written there, Oman David. Oman David, the United States of America controls everything you have listed there right now. Remember, the Strait of Hormuz is responsible for 29 to 32% of the world's daily supply. The Middle East produces roughly 29 to 32% of the world's daily oil supply. The Middle East alone. All right. Right now, the Middle East is not able to sell their oil to the world. Right now, the world is surviving without the 30% of the daily oil supply from the Middle East. And that 30% has been replaced by the United States of America. This is what we mean when we say that President Trump has played chess against Iran. Iran did not see this coming. The Middle East did not see this coming. The 30% of the world's daily oil supply, which was supplied by the Middle East, it's now supplied by the United States of America. In other words, the United States of America, it's now the most powerful. In fact, it was the most powerful country, but it has even become more powerful than it was February, okay, than it was on March. Young says hypocrisy and double standards are truly astounding. So many mentally ill, clueless people like this guy. And then he continued to say, what about your own failing country? Chase says, you not educated for this subject. All right, it is fine. It is fine. Here's the thing. I am dealing. Okay. You need to tell me, which point do you disagree with me? Do you disagree with me that the Middle East produces 30%, more than 30% of the world's daily oil? Do you disagree with that? Are you in disagreement with that? Do you disagree with me that the Middle East is isolated from the global market, global economy, in terms of oil, fertilizers, aluminum, helium, and gas? Are you in disagreement that currently the Middle East is not supplying the world with oil, helium, aluminum, fertilizers, and cargo ships that used to carry cars, big machinery? Are you disagreeing with that? Right now, the Middle East is not supplying any of that through the Strait of Hormuz. And the money that the Middle East used to make daily, they're not making it now. Not only Iran, but the entire Middle East. Not only Iran, the entire Middle East. Do you disagree with that? Gary Gilmore says, reality is not a part of your life. All right. And Young Wolf says, if they send a ton of oil to Asia, it's not just regional. All right. I understand what you're saying, but you're missing the point. You are missing the point. All right. You are missing the point. Now, let me read you something. Key takeaway on Middle East oil production from 2005 to 2025 to 2026. This is what it was. The production volume. The region consistently produces roughly 1/3 of the world's oil, with Saudi Arabia leading as a top 3 global producer alongside US and Russia. All right. Dominant producers. The largest producers in the region are Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates. Okay. Global dependence. Despite increased production in the Americas, the Middle East holds over 50% of the world's proven conventional oil reserves. Okay. All right. Key export route. About 20 million barrels per day. 20 million barrels per day of crude and refined products passed through the Strait of Hormuz in 2025, heavily impacting Asia. You understand that? 20 million barrels per day, 20 million barrels per day of crude and refined products passed through the Strait of Hormuz in 2025. How many millions of barrels per day were passing through the Strait of Hormuz in January and in February? So when we talk about the strait, the impact of the strait, this is what we're talking about. And all these 20 million barrels, all these barrels now, the United States has stepped in to supply the world. This is why we're saying the United States of America has become the world's top oil supplier. Not only oil supplier, but also fertilizers, aluminum, because everything that we used to get from the Middle East, we're not getting it now from the Middle East because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. I'm sure you all agree with me in that point. Okay? You can all agree with me in that point. All right, Young Wolf says America doesn't get oil from the Strait, but Europe does. My point. America does not get oil from the Strait. When we began, I told you that the United States of America captured Venezuela. They have unlimited oil supply in Venezuela. All right, Venezuela. Trump told us that more than 30 million barrels of oil given to them by Venezuela. We know, but they're not given. They take it from Venezuela. All right, Young says Iran uses all of that money to fund what? Hamas. All right. Young Wolf says Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthi, while the Iranian people suffer in poverty. Jimas Papas, welcome. Hello there, everybody. Welcome, Jimas Papas. Young Wolf says, I agree. Okay, Napoleon Dion Zon says, I want my hummus. Okay, what is that? Precious J, welcome. Precious J says, Iran is defending itself. Who's Netanyahu in USA government? Because I see Israel as beggars and Trump hear from Netanyahu instead from his cabinet. Precious J, if you have ever spoken truth, that is truth. We know Trump is controlled by Israel. Trump is controlled by Netanyahu. But here's another angle that I want you to know, Precious J, that Israel and Trump are both controlled by the papacy. So when you talk about Trump being a puppet, he's not only a puppet of Israel, he's also a puppet of the papacy. The papacy is running both Israel and the United States of America. 3 weeks ago, we said that the White House is captured. We said that the White House is controlled by foreign powers. And Precious J, your analysis are correct. Who's Netanyahu in the US government? Last week, Benjamin Netanyahu told us that the Trump administration reports to him daily. Does anybody remember that? Do you remember that? Do you remember that Benjamin Netanyahu last week told us that the Trump administration reports to him daily? Does somebody remember that? Do any of you remember that? Netanyahu saying that the Trump administration reports to him daily. Young Wolf says Trump is not controlled by anyone. If Trump is not controlled by anyone, then explain Trump's actions. Explain Trump's action. Explain, if Trump is not controlled by anyone, explain to us why the negotiations in Pakistan failed. What was the reason? We were told that Benjamin Netanyahu called J.D. Vance and told him what he told him, and the negotiation stopped. All right, Young Wolf says Trump is a puppet of the papacy. That's why he's been attacking the Pope Leo. Come on now. Oh yeah, Wolf. I'm happy. I'm happy, Young Wolf, that you are well informed. You see, Young Wolf, I must give it to you. I must give it to you, Young Wolf. You are well informed, but your information, it's not harmonized. Now, here is what these people are doing. They're doing what they call, you create chaos, and out of the chaos, you bring about order. Okay? Order out of chaos. Now, why did Trump attack the Pope? Do you know why Trump attacked the Pope? Trump attacked the Pope in order to give the Pope global spotlight. Remember, the Pope has been talking about the war. The Pope has been talking against the war before Trump attacked him. But nobody paid attention to what the Pope was saying. Nobody was listening to the Pope, okay? The Pope had no action. The Pope had no spotlights. Even CNN was not covering the Pope. Sky News was not covering the Pope. Fox News was not covering the Pope. All platforms in the world, media platforms, were not covering the Pope. The Pope was talking about the war. Now, the first thing the Trump administration did in order to give the Pope spotlight, it was to summon the Pope's ambassador in the Pentagon. Okay, that at least gained a few voices, but it was not enough for the Pope to be introduced to this conversation globally. Okay, globally, it was not enough until Trump went public. Okay, until Trump went public and said the Pope is weak, the Pope is weak. That is the only time globally the Pope was recognized. And that was the only time globally where everybody began to follow, to want to know what is it that the Pope said. But until Trump attacked the Pope's voice was nowhere in the world, globally. Okay, so that was their way to create a crisis between Trump and the Pope, to appear as if Trump is attacking the Pope. No, Trump was not attacking the Pope. Trump was introducing the Pope to this war, giving him a voice. And All of you can agree with me that the only time Pope's sentiments, Pope's views on the war was aired globally, it was after Trump attacked him in his Truth Social. That was the only time the Pope sentiments, Pope's view was now globalized all over the world. That was the only time. So Pope and Trump are not fighting. It's a game. Remember the powers that be have an agenda, okay? We always talk about this. The powers that be have an agenda, and they will do whatever it takes to make sure that their agenda is successful. If it calls for them to appear to be fighting in public, they will do that. If it needs for them to fight publicly, they will engage in a fight publicly. They will do whatever it takes. All right, let me go and take Jima's Papa says politics is theater. Don't forget that. That's why it's so easy to say and promise something with a handshake and compassion and turn around and do the exact opposite without real repercussions. Correct. Jima's Papa's correct. Young Wolf says, why can't you even acknowledge that? I missed what you're talking about, because I think, okay, Young Wolf says, how many thousands of innocents killed before someone does something about it? I agree with you, Young Wolf. I agree with you. I do not support, listen, I do not support what Trump has done with this war. I do not support it. But I cannot be a hypocrite and ignore what Trump has achieved. As much as Trump has caused chaos, as much as Trump is responsible for the death of many people in Iran, I do not turn a blind eye on that. I recognize that, I condemn that. It is wicked, it is wrong, it was not supposed to be done. All right, I agree. But I cannot ignore what Trump has achieved, even though he achieved it through death, even though he achieved it through death, through blood, but he has achieved it. All right. Young Wolf says, no, that's wrong. The Pope criticized him first. He criticized the war, he criticized ICE, he criticized the immigration policy, and then Trump clapped back. Wolf, Young Wolf, I'm saying to you, the previous night before Trump attacked the Pope had an interview where he condemned the war. He called the war unjust, all right? He called the war unjust. The Pope's sentiment, the Pope's view did not receive the world's attention, did not receive the world's attention, okay? The Pope calling the war unjust, calling the war, calling an end to the war. The Pope's statements did not receive attention globally. The following day, the Pentagon summoned the Pope's ambassador. That also did not receive as much attention as they thought it would. All right? And so the Pope's voice was not received all over the world. It was only in the United States, Sky News, Fox News, and all of that, okay? It was not globally. But when Trump attacked the Pope, when Trump attacked the Pope and called him weak on crime, weak on drugs, weak on foreign policy, that was the only time Pope's views about the war was aired globally, because people began to ask, why is Trump attacking the Pope? And they had to go back and say, well, the Pope said this about the war. The Pope called the war unjust, called the war evil, and is calling the end of the war. That was the only time. So that's what we're talking about, that Trump was only amplifying the Pope's voice. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And Young Wolf, like I said, you got your facts correct, brother. I don't know whether you're a brother or you're a sister. Okay. And now that we have an agreement in that regard, my family, I'm saying, let us look what this fool, Donald Trump, let us look what this stupid man, as many people will want us to believe that Trump is a fool, Trump is a stupid. I don't believe Trump is a fool. I don't believe Trump is stupid. I don't believe Trump is anything that the media is actually portraying him to be. I believe that Trump knows what he's doing. And Trump is merely causing confusion. Trump is just confusing us, misleading or misdirecting us so that we do not focus on what Trump is really doing. Because you come to think of it, no president in the United States of America has been able to achieve what Trump has achieved in the past in the past 30, 40 days, okay? Young Wolf says, anyone who thinks Trump is a fool or stupid, that says a lot about themselves. Young Wolf, I agree with you. I agree with you. Trump is not a stupid president. Trump is not a foolish president. Trump is many things, but a fool. All right, Roxanne December, welcome Roxanne December. None says, not a fool, a complete moron. Young Wolf says, yes, he's brash and he has no filter, but he's strong and smart leader. I agree with you, Young Wolf. He's a smart leader, king of the pip. Trump is back. All right. Jenny Calm says he is evil though. Yeah, he is. He is. We agree with you. We agree with you. See, when we say Trump is smart, we do not erase the evil things he has done, the evil things he has said. But here's another thing that I find it hypocritical to the people who are now, I find this hypocritical because when Trump posted a picture portraying himself as Jesus, you know, healing that man on the sick bed, many people came out for his herd. Many people were attacking Donald Trump. Why is Donald Trump doing? They said it was blasphemy. Why is Donald Trump doing blasphemy? Why is this man blasphemy? Okay, that's what many people came out to say to me. Trump, you cannot compare yourself to Jesus. You are not Jesus. That is Antichrist. And many people were calling Trump Antichrist because Trump posted a picture of himself portraying himself to be Jesus. But do you remember on the 3rd of April? Do you remember on the 3rd of April when Pastor, I don't know whether she's Pastor Paula White, do you remember? It's Trump's advisor. Is it Trump's spiritual advisor, Paula White? All right. What did Paula White say about Donald Trump? Okay. What did Paula White say about Donald Trump? Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember what Trump's spiritual advisor, Paula White, I don't know whether she's a pastor or whatever she is, but Pastor Paula White, do you remember what she said about Trump? She compared Trump to Jesus. Yeah, Young Wolf, you're correct. She compromised him. She compared him to Jesus. Yes, it was Paula White who compared Trump to Jesus. She said Jesus was betrayed. Jesus was forsaken. And she said, Trump, you've been betrayed. You've been forsaken. Just like Jesus was forsaken. And she said to Trump, just like Jesus overcame, just like Jesus succeeded in all that he did, you, President Donald Trump, like Jesus who was betrayed, like Jesus who was forsaken, like Jesus who after all the betrayal, after all this, went and succeeded in all that he did, you, Trump, you will succeed too. Anybody remembers that? He was compared to Jesus by Paula White. So when now Trump posts himself as Jesus, why do many people have a problem with that? Because it was Paula White who planted the idea in Trump's mind that Trump is Jesus. Why did not Christians reject Paula White's sentiments? Why did not Christians attack Paula White when Paula White was comparing Trump to Jesus? Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. I'm saying if we're going to condemn something, we should not choose on who is saying it. If Trump compares himself to Jesus, that is blasphemy. It should be blasphemy when Paula White compares Trump to Jesus. It cannot only be blasphemy when Trump does it, but when somebody does it and say Trump is Jesus, it's like Jesus. And that somebody, it's not attacked, that somebody is not referred to as blasphemous. I find that hypocritical. I find that as the highest order of hypocrisy. All right. Yeah. Young Wolf says, yes, just a small comparison. She didn't say Brother Wolf, she said, she likened him to Jesus. That is enough. She likened him to Jesus. Even the pastor whom Paula White, what is the name of the pastor? I think he is Graham something, Pastor Graham something. What I forget the name of that pastor. Even that pastor, when he came in to pray after what Paula White had said, the pastor prayed, and the prayer was very interesting. The prayer was very interesting. I mean, the prayer was attacking Iran, saying, you know, these pagan, they hate God. They want to eliminate all the Jews. These are the enemies of the Jews. I mean, that was utter nonsense. Oh, okay. King of the Peep says Trump posted AI picture. Yeah, Trump posted that AI picture. All right. Young Wolf says that's all true. That's why. Non says she's a nutter as well. All right. Here's another thing. When Trump then, when he's asked about the picture, he says, no, I don't understand why these fake mainstream media will say that I'm trying to portray myself to Jesus. It is a picture of me as a doctor. Trump said, it is a picture of myself as a doctor. Now, come on, people. Come on, people. All right, King of the Peep says Trump is the king of the tweet. Well, he is the king. He is the king. And he can give you a long tweet or truth social. All right. Now, Trump said, now that picture was a picture of me as a doctor. It's a picture of me as a doctor. And Catholics loves it, by the way. And Christians loves it, by the way. Okay, that's Trump. That's Trump for you. So we understand that Trump has done some, King of the Peep says he actually threatens countries through social media. Exactly. Trump does not speak through official communication platforms. Okay, Trump speaks through social media. Any threat, anything, he communicates it through social media. That's another thing about Trump. That's another thing about Trump. And that's why many people are saying this fool, this stupid person, he doesn't even know protocol. He doesn't even know formal ways of engagement. Truth Social, it is his personal, personal platform, okay? But he puts government announcements through the his personal account or personal platform. Powerful, okay? So I'm saying, having said all of these things about Trump, it doesn't take away that Trump has been able to achieve something that no other US president has achieved. Okay, we know there's a talk about the New World Order, okay? We know there's a talk about the One World Government, okay? Before I continue with the New Order and the One World Government, listen, it doesn't matter whether you believe that there will be a New World Order. It doesn't matter whether you believe that there will be a One World Government. It doesn't matter. For the purposes of this conversation, for the purposes of this podcast, let's say it is possible to have that New World Order, the possibility of having this One World Government. We're going to talk about that. Before we talk about that, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us, for joining us this morning. Please subscribe to the channel if you're watching us for the first time. Help the channel to grow. We wish to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. If that is possible, be one of the people that will help us to reach 1,000 people by the end of the month. The channel is not monetized. We do not want to reach a number of people because we want to make money. The channel is not monetized, it's free. That's why you have no adverts disturbing you. There will never be advertisement on this channel. We want to have our conversation freely without any disturbance any advert. So we do not want you to subscribe because we want to make money. We want you to subscribe because the more subscription we have, the more the algorithm will suggest our channel to many people. That's the only reason we want you to subscribe, to help the channel grow. The channel is not monetized, no advertising on the channel. All right, that's why there are no adverts disturbing you. Let's have a free conversation without any disturbance. All right, okay. Now let's say the possibility of the one world government and the new world order, whether you believe in it or you don't believe it. The Pope, Mr. Wolf, Young Wolf, the Pope and Trump are doing the same thing. The Pope and Donald Trump or Dr. Trump are doing the same thing, all right? That Donald Trump, his mission is to unite all nations, okay? That the mission of Trump or the mission of the United States of America is to unite all nations into what we call a one world government. The purpose of the Pope is to unite all religions into what we call one world religion. So Donald Trump and the Pope are working together. One is focusing in getting the world into a one world government. The other is focusing into getting the world into a one world religion. All right, they are working together. And the one world government and the one world religion, that is the new order we are talking about. That is the world new order we are talking about. So Trump is working with politicians. Trump is to unite all politicians under one umbrella, the United Nations. The Pope is to unite all religions into one body. The World Council of Churches, we know. We have the body, the World Council of Churches, we know that. And it is the World Council of Churches that is busy uniting all religions under one umbrella. And the Pope is responsible for that. While else the United States of America, through Trump, is responsible for getting all nations together into one. All right, the chat is very, very quiet. Yesterday we had a glitch on the chats and many people were kicked out of the chats. Did the same thing happen? Is the same thing happening today? Yesterday we had the glitch on the chats. People were kicked out from this platform. Has that happened today? Is that happening today? Somebody talk to me from the chats. Are you still able to chat or you have been blocked? Are you still able to chat or you've been kicked out? So Donald Trump is working to unite all nations into a one world government. And the Pope is working to unite all religions into one world religion. That is the agenda. That is the mission. So how does isolation of the Middle East help Donald Trump to achieve his goal to unite all nations of the world and to control all nations of the world? King of the Peep, thank you. King of the Peep is still on. King of the Peep says mine is still working. All right, thank you. I'll assume that others also are still working. All right, let us continue. I thought we've been kicked out because yesterday we had to redo the live stream because we were under a glitch attack. All right, let us continue. So what I'm saying is that Donald Trump and the Pope may appear to be fighting in the public eyes. Donald Trump and the Pope may appear to be fighting in public, but I can tell you the Pope and Trump are not fighting. King of the Peep says, does the Pope think he's going to run one world government? And he laughs it off. Listen, I can tell you for free right now, the Pope does not think he will run the one world government. The Pope is already running the one world government, even though the one world government, it's not yet in its full force. The Pope is going to be the leader of the one world government and the leader of the one world religion. You can bookmark this. You can take notes. You can save this video. You can take this part of the clip, save it for in future. The Pope will be the leader of the one world government. The Pope will be the leader of the one world religion. That is going to happen. That is the reason Trump had to attack the Pope publicly. And why was Trump attacking the Pope publicly? Because the Pope said the war is unjust. The Pope said the war must stop. Okay, so Trump must appear as if Trump is against the Pope. So that gives the Pope credibility as a man of peace. That gives the Pope credibility as a man who hates war, a man who wants peace in the world. That was the design. That was the purpose of Trump attacking the Pope, the most powerful president in the world, attacking the most religious, the most powerful religious leader in the world. That was orchestrated. That was planned. That was planned. All right. King of the Peep says, yeah, the Pope called it out for what it is. Exactly. The Pope called it out for what it is. But don't be fooled by the Pope calling it out for what it is, as if the Pope is not party to it. The Pope is party to it, but they think we do not know. They think we do not know their plans. They think we do not know their agenda. Remember, there is the document called Project 2025. I've been speaking about Project 2025 since the war began in Iran. What is the Project 2025 agenda? The Project 2025 agenda is the document that contains the plans of the world, or the plans of the papacy, about how the world is to be controlled, about what the United States of America needs to do. I always urge people to download the Project 2025, because without this document, Project 2025, you will think we are dreaming. You will think we are stupid. You will think we are making things up. But I urge you to please download Project 2025 manual. Project 2025 manual, it's a presidential transition, okay? Presidential transition document which was given to Donald Trump with all the information as to what Trump must do, as to what this administration must do as soon as it takes power. One of the things that this Project 2025 talks about, it talks about the United States of America having to deal with 5 countries, having to take care of China, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Iran, okay? They list these 5 countries in Project 25 that the United States of America needs to eliminate the leadership by the roots of these countries: China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, and North Korea. All right, these countries are deemed or viewed as enemies of the United States of America. So this is what is contained in Project 2025. The war in Iran is contained in that document, Project 2025. The war in Cuba is contained in that document, Project 2025. The war, the attack in Venezuela is also contained in the document, Project 2025. Do yourself a favor and download the document on Google, Project 2025. You go to Chrome and type Project 2025, you will be able to download a PDF version of this document. Trump is simply implementing Project 2025. When Trump says Cuba is next, when Trump says China is our enemy, when Trump says Russia is our enemy, you will remember after capturing Venezuela, Trump said, had the United States of America not captured Venezuela, China will have done it, Russia will have done it, or both of them will have done it. In other words, Trump had an intelligence that he needs to move with speed before China and Russia capture Venezuela, making it difficult for the United States to capture Venezuela. Yeah, king of the peep. The world are scared of Trump. The world is scared of Trump. I think George Joe Montanga. Okay, you with such information, what's your take and side? All right, what's my take and sides? George says, what is my take and side with all this information? Listen, my take and side is that according to prophecy, okay, according to prophecy, what Trump is doing is a preparation for the world to enter the stage of the mark of the beast. My take is that these events are leading us to the end of the world. This is the last days. I believe these are the last days. The world is coming to an end. You will remember that the Bible told us that there will be 7 world empires, okay? There will be, and this is for all Christians. If you're a Christian, you should know this information. If you're a Christian and you do not know this information, it's fine. We're going to share this information to you. It's here. And if you're not a Christian or you're a Hindu or an atheist, also, this information, it will blow you away. So whether you are Christian or not a Christian, listen to what I'm about to tell you, okay? The Bible in the book of Daniel and Revelation told us that the world will have 7 world superpowers, okay? 7 world superpowers. And the first world superpower was the kingdom of Babylon. The second world superpower was the kingdom of the Medes and the Persian. The third world superpower was the kingdom of Greece, led by Alexander the Great. The fourth world superpower was pagan Rome, the Roman Empire, led by the emperors, okay? The fifth world superpower was the papacy, led by the Pope. You will remember that the papacy, it's a union of church and state. So the Roman Catholic Church controlled the state from 538 AD to 1798. So the papacy was the fifth world superpower. The sixth world superpower was the French Revolution, because it was the French Revolution which ended the reign of papacy in 1798, when the French took the Pope into captivity and ended the reign of Pope, both as the leader of the church and the leader of the Roman Empire. So the sixth one was the French Revolution. And the seventh world superpower is the United States of America. And the seventh world superpower is the last world superpower, which is the United States of America. So based on this information, my take or my side is the world is coming to an end. My side is the Bible has been correct. The prophecy in Daniel, prophecy in the book of Revelation are being fulfilled today. And we are in the last part of prophecy. Because if the Bible was correct that the world will have 7 world superpowers, and indeed the world has now had 7 world superpowers. The first world superpower being Babylon, the second world superpower, Medes and the Persian, the third world superpower, Greece, the fourth world superpower, the world superpower, the papacy, the papal Rome, and the sixth world superpower, the French Revolution, which turned everything upside down. It was the French Revolution that brought about communism and socialism. Before the French Revolution, we had kings, we had monarchs, but the French Revolution came with presidents, came with prime ministers, came with ambassadors, came with all this. It was the French Revolution that took the throne of the Pope, or took the Pope out of his throne. And the United States of America is the 7th and the last world superpower. And after the United States of America, the second coming of Jesus will take place. Now, in addition to that prophecy, the prophecy ends by saying that the United States of America, after it has gained control of the world, after the United States of America has convinced all nations to form a one world government, the United States of America will convince this one world government to elect the Pope as the leader of this one world government. The Pope is going to become the leader of the state and the leader of the religion, because the Pope is the only leader in the world who has experience in running both the church and the state at the same time. The Vatican is a state. The Vatican is a nation. Who is the leader of the Vatican? Who is the leader of the Vatican? The leader of the Vatican is the Pope. Who is the leader of the Roman? Because the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church is the Vatican. So the Pope is both the leader of the Vatican as a nation, and is also the leader of the Vatican Church, which is the Roman Catholic Church. So the Pope currently, he is both a political leader and a religious leader in the Vatican. I know the Pope said the other day that he is not a politician. I can tell you the Pope was misleading us just like they always mislead us. The Pope is a politician. It was not a correct, it was not a correct, I'm sorry about the sound. I'm sorry about the sound. We had a glitch in the system. Oh, come on, man. We had a problem. I'm sure it is solved by now. Is it back now? Is it back now? All right. Thank you. So this is what we are saying. This is what we're saying. This is what we mean. So the Pope is both a political leader in the Vatican and a spiritual leader or a religious leader in the Vatican. Anything else is a lie. Okay? In today's world, we know that there is no, every nation is doing politics. So if the Pope is the leader of the Vatican and the Vatican is a nation, I mean, in the Vatican, you have embassies. American embassy is in the Vatican. South African embassy in the Vatican. France embassy in the Vatican. Europe embassy in the Vatican. UK embassy in the Vatican. There is no nation that is part of the United Nations which does not have an embassy in the Vatican. And the ambassadors are politicians, and the Pope deals with these ambassadors in the Vatican. So what does the Pope, he says he's not a politician? He says, I preach the gospel. I'm about the gospel. Not true. Not entirely true. Not entirely true. All right? Not entirely true. The Pope is a politician. And whatever the movements that the Pope is doing, those are political moves. He went to Algeria. He was in Algeria to meet some Muslim brothers, a mosque. He went there. A Catholic priest, a Catholic Pope, he went and visited a Muslim mosque. He went and spoke politics. He said that the fact that we have different beliefs, different set of worship, different ways of worship, it doesn't mean we should be enemies. We should try to live together. Is that not politics? Is that not politics? You telling me that, yeah, because politics, it's about right side and wrong side. The Republicans believe they're correct. The Democrats believe they're correct. That's politics. Islam believes that they are the true nation. I mean, the true spiritual are sons and daughters of God. Catholics believe that the true church of God. Christians believe that the true church of God. Atheists believe there's no God. All right? And there are those who believe in worshiping nature. All these, it's embedded in politics. All right. So the Pope is the only leader in the world who is having a relationship with all religious bodies of the world. Kevin Poole, welcome. The Pope is the only religious leader in the world who has, that is the Pope. The Pope is also the only religious leader who has relationships with all nations of the world. That is the Pope. All nations of the world, all leaders of the world, they respect the Pope. They reverence the Pope. Yeah, some of them even worship the Pope. Okay, so when we talk about the one world government, one world religion, we know what we're talking about. By the way, the foreign minister of Russia 2 weeks ago told us that what is currently happening is preparing for the reshaping of the new world order. It was out of the Russia's foreign minister's mouth, out of his own mouth in a media briefing. He told the entire world that what is currently happening, speaking on the war between Israel, America, and Iran, he said what is currently happening is for the reshaping of the world for the new world order. Dudla Suresh, welcome, brother. Welcome, brother Dudla Suresh, watching us from India. You are welcome. We're thankful to have you. And welcome to you all that have just joined us. If you are watching us from the first time, please subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow. And we appreciate your presence. Without you, there is no podcast. Without you, we cannot do this. We cannot enjoy this platform. We are able to enjoy the platform, and the platform grows because of you. So we are thankful. Dudla Suresh, welcome. All right. So when we talk about the one government, we know what we're talking about. Like I told you that you need to download information we're talking about is contained in that Project 2025 document, all right? Project 2025, they don't hide it. Now, you'll ask me, who is the author of the Project 2025? The author of the Project 2025 is the Heritage Foundation. Oh, the Heritage Foundation. What religion are the leaders of the Heritage Foundation? The leaders of the Heritage Foundation are Roman Catholics. Okay, they are Roman Catholics. The leaders of the Heritage Foundation are Roman Catholics. Kevin Roberts, a Roman Catholic. Who does he work for? He works for the papacy. Okay, he works for the papacy. So whatever is contained in Project 2025 are the aspirations and the dreams of the papacy. So you cannot separate the papacy from politics. You cannot. Now, you cannot separate the papacy from politics. In today's world, you cannot separate anything from any. You cannot separate religion from politics. The politics today have stretched their hands even into religion. Religion says no sex, no same-sex marriage, no lesbian, no gays. That's religion, especially Christianity. Says a man is to marry a woman to be married by a man. That's religion. That's Christianity. And even Islam, that's religion. But politics have come, and the politics have said, you have a right to marry anyone you want to. Politics have come with LGBTQ. Okay, that this The line of demarcation has been separated. The line of distinction between church and state, between politics and religion, no longer exists today. Okay? Because when the state says abortion is correct, same sex is legal, all right? When the state says that and the church comes and say no same sex, no abortion, now already religion and politics are fighting. King of the Pip says it's not normal. They are contradicting the Bible. Yeah, they are contradicting the Bible, but they're using political power to enforce their contradiction of the Bible. That is my point. They're using political power to contradict the Bible. They're using political power to oppose the Bible. Because the issue of same-sex marriage, it's a spiritual thing. It's a religious thing. It's a moral thing. And morality, the leader of moral is the church, is the religion. But now the state has taken it upon itself to define what is morally right and what is morally wrong. And the state has taken it upon itself to use its political power to enforce laws and rules, binding rules, dire consequences for those who reject them or for those who violate them. Therefore, church and state has been united. That's why the one world government, it will be a union of church and state, because the church will make all the rules and the state. That is what the papacy did from 538 AD to 1798 AD. The papacy was using the state to enforce its laws. It was the papacy that changed the day of worship from Saturday to Sunday using the state. It was the church, the RCC, the papacy led by the Pope that made a Sunday law, that made sure that people are to work from Monday to Saturday. It was the state, it was the papacy that used the state to make sure that Saturday was a commercial day, a day of business, making sure that only Sunday was the only available day in which people can rest and go to church. It was the papacy using the Roman Empire, using the state. That was politics. There is no man who can occupy the papacy. There is no man who can occupy the papacy and then come and tell us that he's not involved in politics. We do not accept that. Yes, the Pope may believe that. I don't believe that. I don't accept that. I don't think you accept that. How can the leader of a nation say he's not political, he's not a politician? How can you say that? When he's a leader of a nation, when he deals with politicians day in, day out, can you accept that? Subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and thank you for joining us. This is All Things Podcast. All Things Podcast coming to you live from South Africa. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel. We are doing political analysis, global political analysis, and religious, global religious analysis. This is what we do here. We use evidence. We use information by the same sources we're talking about. We do not guess. We do not guess. We do not speak our own. We analyze the events that are taking place, analyze events that took place. All right. When we began, we said that Trump is inviting all nations to go and buy oil from the United States of America. And we said as we began, it is not only oil that all nations are invited to go and buy from Iran. We are saying the Strait of Hormuz was responsible for grain, was responsible for fertilizers, gas, okay, helium, aluminium, and Strait of Hormuz was responsible for that shipment. Today, the Strait of Hormuz is blocked. The Strait of Hormuz is idle. Nothing is moving. And the United States of America is saying to the world, every product that you use to get from the Middle East, every product that you use to get from the Middle East, come to the United States of America. If you used to ship grain from the Middle East, come to the United States of America. If you used to ship gas from the Middle East, come to the United States of America. If you used to ship whatever product from the Middle East, come to the United States of America. We are open for business. This is what Trump is saying. It's not only oil. So when we saw the ships on Monday making a U-turn from the Indian Ocean and going towards the Gulf Coast of America, they were responding to the call of Donald Trump or Dr. Trump, telling them, come to the United States of America. For every good, for every product that you used to get from the Middle East, we are open for business. Come buy from us, which simply means all the millions, all the billions that used to flow to the Middle East are now deviated to the United States of America, making the United States of America economically strong, economically powerful like never before. Yeah, King of the Peep is saying, come buy the stolen oil from Venezuela. Yes, you are correct. Come buy stolen oil. Oh, King of the Peep, you are very right. You are very right. You always remind us that the oil was stolen. King of the Peep, you always remind us that this oil is stolen. And you are correct. Trump is inviting everybody to go buy oil from the United States of America, to go buy any resource that you used to get from the Middle East. Trump says, I have it. I am open for business. And Trump promised us that he will control the Strait of Hormuz. And he will control it. All right. He will control it. He is controlling it. Okay. Now, this is what Donald Trump said the other day. This is what Donald Trump said. He said, so there you have it. I'm reading from Donald Trump's Truth Social. So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not effective immediately. The United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or to leave the Strait of Hormuz. And the United States is doing exactly that. There is no ship entering the Strait of Hormuz today. There is no ship leaving the Strait of Hormuz today. All the ships that used to enter the strait are now going to the United States of America. And I repeat again, no matter how much people can say Trump is stupid, Trump is a fool. What Trump has been able to achieve, no man who is a fool can achieve it. What Trump has been able to do for the United States of America, no fool can be able to do it. No stupid person can do it. How can you take more than 30% of oil's daily supply from the Middle East? 30% of the world's daily supply of oil, it's now supplied from the United States of America. That's power. Yeah, we know that Trump got that power through evil means. We know that Trump got that power through war, through deception. We know that. We know that. But he has it anyway. He has it. and he is making money. He is making money. He is making money. So this is why we say, when we say Trump, he is confusing all of us. While we are confused, looking at him as a fool, looking at him as a stupid person, he is bringing about the new world order. Because the new world order requires the United States of America to control the world. And the only way you can control the world is you must have the resources which the world needs. If you control the food supply, you control everyone who is hungry, because everyone who is hungry must come to you for food. So if America controls oil supply, it means the entire world must go to America for their oil. No nation on earth can do without oil. Nothing. Nobody can do without oil, fertilizers, gas. Nobody. No nation can do without aluminum. Cars use aluminum. Industries. You cannot do without that. And now all those things are acquired only in the United States of America. The Middle East has been isolated from doing business globally through the closure or the shutting of the Strait of Hormuz. And all that is Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump. When he began the war, everybody was saying, this fool. Yeah, we are saying this knowing very well that Donald Trump is a puppet. We understand, we acknowledge that Donald Trump is a puppet. He's working on behalf of his masters. But even though Donald Trump is working on behalf of his masters, when history is written, it will not be written that Donald Trump was a puppet, and as a puppet he achieved 1, 2, 3. It will be written that Donald Trump is the man who prepared the way for a one world government. It will be written that Donald Trump was the only American president who was bold enough to go outside established channel to achieve the America's goals. What Trump is doing are the desires of America, are the desires of Congress, are the desires of the United States of America. But if the United States of America were going to do it by the book, they were never going to achieve what Trump has achieved in the last 40 days. So Trump went outside established ways to achieve something that it was going to take years, or in fact, it was impossible to achieve. Because Iran was never going to surrender its oil. Iran was never going to surrender the strait. But today, Donald Trump has made the strait useless. Today, Donald Trump has made the strait ineffective. Today, Donald Trump has taken all the business that used to happen in the Strait of Hormuz. All those businesses, all those transactions today are happening in the United States of America. That's powerful. That's powerful. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, that is powerful. Whether you acknowledge the smartness of Trump, whether you acknowledge it or not, that's powerful. I know some of you are saying, we give credit to the master. We do give credit to the master. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with Donald Trump. They know very well what they're doing with him. All right. Let me continue here. Let me continue here. I just want to read you something. Let me see if I'm... Okay, so this is what, again, what Trump said. He said that the United States to blockade ships entering or exiting Iranian ports on April 13 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Did he do it? Yes, he did it. Yes, he did it. And a comment here says, last week, Trump's critics were crowning Iran. We're crowing Iran had achieved a strategic victory, leveraging control of the Strait of Hormuz to force him into a ceasefire and negotiation. Now, Trump has flipped the script, using the ceasefire to seize control of the strait. All right. G. David says Jesus has risen. I mean, Dr. Jesus. I thought you would say Dr. Trump. Yeah. So Dr. Jesus or Dr. Trump has now seized control of the Strait of Hormuz because Trump has besieged the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing is leaving the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing is entering, whether empty or loaded. Nothing is leaving the Strait of Hormuz. That's powerful. And look at Europe. Look at NATO. Look at all the countries in the Gulf. They can't do anything about it. They cannot do anything about it. Trump is king. Trump is boss. Trump is controlling everything. You see, Trump is controlling everything that side. And so, according to prophecy, Trump must do what he's doing. According to prophecy, Trump must do what he's doing. And this will lead us. All right, G. David says Trump is full of McDonald's. Yeah, Trump loves McDonald's. Yeah. We saw him having his McDonald's delivered to him live on global media, live on the global media. Trump's McDonald's were being delivered to him. He loves McDonald's. Yeah, he loves McDonald's, Donald Trump. All right. Yeah, so all the countries, all the regions in the Middle East, they cannot do anything. Saudi Arabia cannot do anything. Iran cannot do anything. Iraq cannot do anything. Yemen cannot do anything. Oman cannot do anything. Bahrain cannot do anything. Kuwait cannot do anything. Jordan cannot do anything. Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Israel, Turkey, they cannot move a single ship in the Strait of Hormuz. All of them, they were dependent and using the Strait of Hormuz to transport and move their goods. Today, they cannot do anything. You're saying Chinese ships are getting through. How many Chinese ships are getting through, brother? G. David, how many Chinese ships are getting through? How many per day? How many? Say 6 a day. Before the strait was closed, how many ships per day? Per day, Iran alone, through the Strait of Hormuz, Iran alone used to make $200 million a day. And China used to buy cheap oil from Iran. Iran per day was making more than $200 million. Today, Iran is not making that money. In other words, I'm simply trying to show you here that the economy of the Middle East is being weakened. I'm not yet sure whether the administration of Trump is trying to destroy the Middle East. I am not yet sure. It will appear to me that they have a plan, but it is not yet sure to me as to whether they plan to bankrupt the Middle East. They plan to isolate the Middle East from the global markets forever and ever. But what I do know is that Trump's administration wants to control all shipments of oil globally, all cargo globally. That one is clear. That one is clear that the United States of America wants to have control of every ship that moves on the sea. They want to have control of everything that is sold globally. The United States of America wants to have control on the movements upon the waterways. That one is clear. Because, you know, a lot is moving through the waterways. A lot is moving. Ships carrying gold can no longer go to the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? So if the Middle East was receiving gold from Africa or from anywhere, today no ship carrying gold will enter the Strait of Hormuz or the Middle East. If they used to get cars, they used to get any type of business, wine, whatever goods or products they used to get through the strait. Today, they're not able to do that. Is that not destroying the Middle East and making the United States of America stronger, making the dollar stronger? I know a lot of people, they want to talk about the BRICS. Yo, but the BRICS nation, what about the BRICS nation? You have the BRICS nation rising. Man, the BRICS nation will amount to nothing. The BRICS nation will amount to nothing. It will never be anything significant. No matter how much China, Russia can say we are going to dump the dollar, we'll do business in our own currency, it will not materialize. I can tell you, China is also a target of the United States of America. The United States of America is also attacking or planning to attack China. There is nothing the BRICS nation will do. I'm telling you this here today on the 16th of April 2026. The BRICS nation will amount to nothing. The BRICS nation will amount to nothing. There is nothing Russia can do to stop America. There is nothing China can do to stop America. There is nothing both China and America, yeah, including North Korea, can do to stop America. America will succeed because prophecy says America is the last world superpower and all prophecy has been fulfilled. I don't think it's about to fail. I don't think prophecy is about to fail. It will not fail. It will continue. It will not fail. It will continue. America will succeed. America will win this thing because America must become the world superpower, must control the entire world. And America is controlling the entire world. The only countries that America has identified refusing to bow down to them. 5 countries identified by the United States of America as its enemies. 5 countries: Iran, Venezuela, Russia, China, North Korea. In other words, when America identifies these 5 countries, China, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Iran, it simply means all the nations of the world, they are controlled by the United States of America, or they bow down to the United States of America. That's the only meaning. Of all the nations of the world, America has a problem. China, North Korea, of course, Cuba. But Cuba has been, Cuba has been attacked already. Cuba is a done deal. Cuba, America just needs to go there and finalize everything. They're done with Cuba. Okay? So it's something that we need to know and understand. But as we conclude, this is what I want to tell you. The world is coming to an end. The world is coming to an end. Omar David says, resources, rules, efficiency affects market competitiveness. BRICS, Brother, BRICS. You know, I saw yesterday on social media somebody posting that there's a new power rising, and he called it CRINK. Yeah, he called it CRINK, and then CRINK it's China, China, India, CRINK, North Korea. All right. No, it's China, Russia, India, and North Korea. He calls it CRINK, and he's saying now CRINK is the CRINK is doing something good to to oppose what America is doing. I'm telling you, you can call it BRICS, you can call it CRINK, it will amount to nothing. No CRINK will win. Remember the Strait of Hormuz. It is the world. I mean, it's the world source or the Middle East source of transportation of the waterways. Other than the strait, we do not have any other routes that we can use which are easy, cost effective. It's only the Strait of Hormuz. So whether it's CRINK, CRINK will not do anything. Whether it's BRICS, BRICS will not do anything. Because for BRICS to do anything, it will mean prophecy must fail. For China to win against America, it will mean prophecy must fail. And I tell you, prophecy will not fail. Prophecy will not fail. It is not going to fail. It's never going to fail. All right. It's not going to fail. It's not failing. Prophecy has never failed. It will not begin now. Subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed to the channel. Here is the solution that I think it will not be nice to many of you, but here's the solution for all of us here, myself included. We need to acknowledge that there's a God in heaven who controls everything on earth. There's a God in heaven who allows kings and presidents to have power. And this God in heaven has seen the future and has told us that the future will consist of 7 world empires, namely Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, pagan Rome, papal Rome, French Revolution, the United States of America. And he has told us that the last one will gain control of the world. And after it has gained control of the world, it will hand over the power to the papacy. All right. So the last thing for America to do is to hand over their power to papacy. And once America hands over power to papacy, what we call the mark of the beast government will be established. And the mark of the beast government is the one world government. Okay? Is the one world government. Now, I can tell you now, you cannot believe that one day there will be a mark of the beast and you don't believe in the one world government, because the one world government is the mark of the beast government. Okay? So if you say there will never be a one world government, there will never be a new world order, the mark of the beast is the new world order, which controls buying and selling. Right now, every one of us, you have a right to buy anything, anywhere. As long as you have money, you can buy anything, anytime, anywhere. The new world order, which is the mark of the beast, will control who buys, will control who doesn't buy. That's the new world order. So you cannot tell me that you believe that sometime in future we're going to have the mark of the beast, but at the same time you don't believe that we're going to have a one world government. What are you saying? It will be the one world government that will bring about the mark of the beast. Oman David says resources, rules, equals efficiency of offerings to markets. America is conducting campaigns to establish solid position which resides on foreign territories. Exactly. That is what America, if I'm understanding you, that is what America is positioning itself to do. America saw that should the BRICS control Venezuela, America saw that should the BRICS control the Middle East, because you had countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, becoming interested in joining the BRICS countries. Okay, so America saw, should the BRICS countries act fast, I will not be able to act. I will not be able to reverse what the BRICS countries will have achieved. So I'm going to move before the BRICS countries move. It's too late for the BRICS countries to move. You see, had the BRICS nation moved before Trump moved, the script will be different. But Trump moved before everyone. And because of that move, Trump has won this global war. Trump has won global control. Nothing the BRICS can do. But having said that, my point is, we need to acknowledge that there is a God in heaven who knows the future, who has revealed the future, even gave us the kingdoms successively, even gave us 60% of the names of these kingdoms. Imagine, God even named these kingdoms before they existed. He named them in the Bible. Babylon is named in the Bible. The Medes and the Persians named in the Bible. Greece is named in the Bible. Rome is named in the Bible. 60% named in the Bible. Even what these nations are going to do, written there in the Bible, in the book of Daniel and Revelation. You read Daniel chapter 11. It's a history of all these kingdoms. What it will do, how they will try to use marriage to form their relationships, how they're going to poison each other, how they're going to conquer the world. Everything is there. The kingdom of Alexandria, Greece, named in the Bible. How the four generals will take the power from Alexander the Great. After the death of Alexander the Great, this kingdom divided among his four generals is there in the Bible, written there, black and white in the Bible, before it happened. So now the Bible's last prophecy, last world superpower is the United States of America. I can tell you for free, whatever the Bible has said about the United States of America, it shall be fulfilled. Whatever the Bible has said about the papacy, it shall be fulfilled. The Bible is the one telling us that America works for the papacy. America is controlled by the papacy. It's in the Bible, Revelation 13. It's in the Bible. That it is the United States of America which will restore the power back to the papacy. It gives papacy its power. That is prophecy. And the United States of America, that's why we are saying there is no war between Trump and the Pope. No war between Trump and the Pope. No such thing. There is no war between Trump and the Pope. Trump and the Pope are not fighting. It's what they want us to think. It's what they want us to think. There is no war between Trump and the Pope. If we can understand that, then we'll ask ourselves, then why do they want to appear to be fighting if there's no war between these two? Why they want the world to think that they're fighting? Why is it that they want to appear as if Trump and the Pope are fighting? Trump and the Pope are not fighting. Remember, the Pope is working. He has his own agenda. The agenda of the Pope is to unite all religions of the world. That is the Pope's agenda. The agenda of Trump is to unite all nations of the world. Why is Trump uniting all nations of the world? Why is the Pope uniting all religions of the world? Why? Is because they are working towards of the new world order. And the new world order is one world government, one world religion. The new world order is the mark of the beast government, where church and state are united, where church controls the state. So it will be the papacy controlling the governments of the world. Simple, clear. The papacy will be controlling the governments of the world. All the governments of the world will be under the control of the papacy. And the papacy, using the United States of America, will issue a law called National Sunday Law. It is this National Sunday Law that they're going to use to make sure that anybody who does not follow this law will not be able to buy or sell. And America has been practicing this through sanctions. America has been practicing this, saying that if you do business, you trade with our enemies, you will receive nothing from us. So America, Omen David says community communism. You understand that? So America has been doing this, and America will continue to do this. All right. America will continue to do this. So there's nothing we can do to stop it. It's going to happen. But what we can do for ourselves is to recognize that there must be a God in heaven. There is God in heaven who controls everything. All right. Okay. We've had Russia news. They said Russia and China have declared that they will no longer use the US dollar for any of their trade dealings. It's too late. It's too late for China and Russia to say this. It's too late for China and Russia to say that they will no longer use the US dollar for any of their trade dealings. It will not affect the dollar. It will not affect the dollar in any way, shape, or form, because the dollar continues to be backed by oil, and the United States of America continue to be the majority seller of oil. All right. In other news, Pope Leo explains why he visited a mosque in Algeria. He says the visit to the mosque was to say that although we have different beliefs, different ways of worshiping, different ways of living, we can live together in peace. This is what I mean. We are quoting the Pope here, quoting the Pope. This is what the Pope says. The visit to the mosque was significant to say that although we have different beliefs, different ways of worshiping, different ways of living, we can live together in peace. This is why we say that the Pope's duty, the Pope's mandate is to unite all religious leaders. And that's what the Pope is saying. The mandate of Trump is to unite all nations. And 5 nations refused to surrender their sovereignty. Iran refused to do that. Venezuela refused to do that. China refuses to do that. North Korea refuses to do that. Russia refuses to do that. And so America has identified these nations as enemy of the United States' progress, security, and future prosperity. And that is why China will be attacked. That is why Russia will be attacked. Their plan says, if need be, we don't need to trim this tree. We do not need to trim this tree, but we need to remove it. We need to uproot it, right? Let me look for this quotation from Project 2025. All right, this is what they say in Project 2025. They say, but these really are not many issues, but 2. One issue is that, issue number 1, that China is a totalitarian enemy of the United States, not a strategic partner or fair competitor. Issue number 2, that America's elites have betrayed the American people. Now they say the solution to all of the above problems is not to tinker with this or that government program, to replace this or that bureaucrat. These are problems of these are problems not of technocratic efficiency, but of national sovereignty and constitutional governance. They say we solve them by not trimming. We solve them not by trimming and reshaping the leaves, but by ripping out the trees, root and branch. So America says the only way, or Project 2025, the only way we can deal with China, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Iran, it is not by trimming and reshaping the leaves, but by ripping out the trees, root and branch. That is why they killed Ayatollah Khamenei. That is why they killed Ayatollah Khamenei. They were dealing with the roots. They were ripping out the trees, root and branch. So it simply means any government that is opposed to the United States of America will be ripped, will be uprooted. That's what the Project 2025 is telling us. Omar David says, where was this site and historical importance? I'm not sure I understand you, Omar David. I'm not sure I understand you, Omar David. Can you ask your question again? Which site are you talking about? Which site are you talking about? All right. So this is what they're saying. They're saying these problems are not of technocratic efficiency, but of national sovereignty and constitutional governance. In other words, the China, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, and Iran refused to surrender their sovereignty. So you must destroy their sovereignty, destroy their constitution, solve them by trimming. We do not solve them by trimming and reshaping the leaves. We solve them by ripping out the trees, root and branch. This is referring to the leadership of these countries. The leadership of these countries is either they will be assassinated, removed, or changed, like they did in Venezuela. They did not destroy the country Venezuela. They removed the president of Venezuela because the president of Venezuela was the tree, was the root, was the branch. Maduro was removed. Oh, David says the Pope's visit. It was on Monday. It was on Monday in Algeria. It was on Monday in Algeria. The Pope visited Algeria on Monday. The mosque in Algeria. I think is it the biggest mosque? Is it the third biggest mosque in the world? But it was in Algeria on Monday. That's where the Pope went. And the Pope today, wherever he goes, he preaches. Yeah, he visited a mosque in Algeria. The Pope, wherever he goes today, he preaches the gospel. Okay, Tucker Carlson says that new official religion of U.S. government and President Trump is Israelism. It says Israelism is the new is the new religion in America. Well, you can't blame him. Israel controls America. Every Senate, every congressman and women, most of them, let me not say every, most of them, they all choose Israel over America. They all choose Israel over Palestine. You say between Israel and Palestine, who do you choose? They all go for Israel. So they worship Israel. I don't know what is it that Israel has on them. All right. Pope explained his visit to the mosque was not to pretend Catholicism and Islam are the same, but simply to promote the rejection of religious violence in Algeria. Now, you understand that Pope is saying that I am not here to pretend that Catholicism and Islam are the same. Catholicism and Islam are not the same, but I want to promote the rejection of religious violence. So this is the Pope. He says we must stop religious violence. Just because I don't worship your God, you should not say anything bad about my God. Keep your God, I keep my God. Keep your worship, I keep my worship. All we need to do is recognize all religions of the world. all religions of the world are correct, all religions of the world are right. How can the Pope say this? Yeah, Mahal pipe is in hell. You understand that? It is not true. Catholicism doesn't believe that. Catholicism does not believe that all religion is superior or all religions are equal. Why would Catholicism believe that all religions are equal or are important when papacy calls itself the mother of churches? Why would Catholicism, why will the papacy call itself the mother of churches when she believes that all religions are equal? And she doesn't want to be equal to anybody. We know that the RCC, the Roman Catholic Church, refuses and hates and frowns when she's referred to as the sister church. She says, I'm not a sister. I am the mother of all churches. She says, I gave birth to all churches, including Islam. In fact, the papacy says, I gave birth to all churches, all religions. She claims to be the oldest religious body in the world, and therefore all religious body must submit to her as the mother, whether it be Islam, Christians, or any religion. The papacy claims to be the mother of all religion as the oldest. She says, I was there before any of you were formed. I am the oldest religion or religious body. So I should control the religion of the world. That's what we are saying, and that's what we see. Omar David says, while we win the numbers game and squeeze you later, Pope's theory in this climate. Remember, the Pope is part of the climate thing. Pope Francis, in his book, Laudato Si, doesn't he talk about climate? In his book, Laudato Si, doesn't he talk about war? In his book, see, the Pope cannot distance himself from war. The Pope cannot distance himself from politics. He is part of politics, part of the war, because his predecessor has a book, Laudato Si, and this current Pope has never come out in public to distance himself from that Laudato Si. All we know, he is part of the Laudato Si. He is part of all the agenda that the papacy have. If the Pope claims not to be a politician, he must resign as the leader of the Vatican. Leave the Vatican, resign as the Pope. As long he is the Pope is both a politician and a religious leader. End of story. End of story. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. We have come to the end of our podcast today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for joining us. It was a lovely day where we look at the United States of America controlling the oil of the world. We know that the United States of America is signifying itself or sealing itself or centering itself as the world superpower by controlling the supply of oil globally. Not only the supply of oil globally, but fertilizers, gold, aluminum, any product that used to be that other nations used to get from the Middle East. Now you can only get that in the United States of America. Subscribe to the channel. Don't leave without subscribing. Let us meet again tomorrow. I'm sure we will talk about these events for a long time. I don't think this thing will escalate. I know the World Cup is coming. Maybe during the World Cup, June, maybe in June, we will have less wars. But I can tell you, things have just begun. Things have just begun. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Remember, there's been a rumor of a World War III. Until the World War III is fought, nothing will change. So let's hope and pray that we make it through World War III. Let's hope and pray that we make it through food poisoning, water poisoning, through chemtrail, atmosphere poisoning. Let's pray we make it through the war. Let's pray we survive the medication that we receive, which are not healthy, making us sicker. Let's hope we survive every pestilence, every disease, every famine, every earthquake that shall be brought upon humanity. And let us pray. I urge you to study your Bible, to study the books of Daniel and Revelation, because whatever is happening, when it comes to the ships, it's there in the book of Revelation about the ships. America controlling the ships is there in the Bible. America controlling the oil. Everything is there in the Bible. So we are reading a script. We are reading scriptures and we see the fulfillment of scriptures. That is why when this war began, we could not keep quiet. That is why we do not analyze it according to the mainstream media, because the mainstream media is not following prophecy. We analyze it the way we analyze it because we follow prophecy. The reason we say Trump and the Pope are not fighting is because prophecy tells us that the United States and the papacy are working together. So what we see them fight, we know it's just a distraction to the real goal. America and the papacy are working together. Israel, United States of America are both controlled by the papacy. Let's meet tomorrow. Let's meet tomorrow. So I'm waiting for you to subscribe, and then I can go. I'm waiting for you to subscribe, then we can go. Remember, we said that we said that okay, we said that America in Iran was there for the oil. No, thank you so much for those of you who have subscribed. Thank you so much. I thank you so much. I see the numbers have gone up. Thank you so much for subscribing. Now we can close the show. Okay, but let me close with this last point. All right. We know that the United States of America wants to have global control, wants to control all nations of the world. Okay, and when the United States of America have control of all nations of the world, then the Pope will have control of all religious bodies. Okay, so that when America says we need to have a day of rest, a day of worship, a day in which all nations under heaven will reflect, sit down, pray to whatever God that they're praying to. You are not required to pray to Jesus. You are not required to pray to Allah. You are not required to, but on this day, all religions should be worshiping, and that day will be Sunday. There is no religion that will stand up against that, because all religious bodies will have surrendered their sovereignty to Trump. There will be no nation under the sun that will fight with a one world government, because all nations will have surrendered their sovereignty to the United States of America. So the United States of America will have control of these nations of the world, and she will hand over this control to the papacy. And the papacy will use the state to enforce each and every law that the papacy wants, like it did from 538 AD to 1798 AD. Thank you so much for watching us. Let us meet tomorrow. More details tomorrow on this point. More details on this point. Subscribe. Have a great day. God bless you. Let's meet tomorrow.